Hey guys, my name is Marley and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a fun little reading vlog where we read books that are recommended for Tauruses. Now, if you know me, you may be asking, why are you doing this? You're not a Taurus. Actually, I'm a Taurus moon. Basically, I think like when I first started my channel, I did a video like this where I did read books recommended for my sun sign, which is the sign most people know about themselves. And for me, that is Libra. And I'll definitely link that video all around so you can go check that out. I read 3 books and didn't have the best luck. I think I had 1 5-star, but then I didn't love the other 2. Now, in the last few months or in the last year, I've gotten more into your whole chart when it comes to astrology. So not just looking at your sun sign, but also looking at, for example, your moon sign or your rising. These are kind of known as like your big 3. So since it is now Taurus season, or it's approaching Taurus season when I'm filming this intro, I thought it would be fun to do a reading vlog based on my moon and then my rising signs. And then we can kind of see, do I like book recommendations best for my sun, moon, or rising sign? So, as I already said, Taurus is my moon, so I have scoured the internet and looked for books that were recommended for Tauruses that I'm interested in reading. So first up, we have a recommendation from Stephanie's Bookverse, and I will definitely link all of these creators below. You can watch their videos as well, but she recommended Tauruses read The Hobbit by JRR Tolkien. I've owned these books for a long time and I have not read them yet. And I haven't seen the movies, so I'm a complete noob when it comes to this world. But she recommended this for Tauruses because Tauruses are very much like homebodies and they just like to be home and have a simple life. And apparently that is how Hobbits are as well. As I said, I don't really know about Hobbits, but on the back of the book it does say Bilbo Baggins, who is the Hobbit and main character, does enjoy a comfortable, unambitious life, rarely traveling. So that definitely does give Taurus energy. So I can definitely see why she would recommend this book, and let's see if I like this one. Next up, we got a recommendation from Emma over at Book Break. I actually took a recommendation from her for my Libra video, so it kind of fits. I'm taking from her video again, but she recommended the book Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, and sort of similar to the previous recommendation, she recommended it because Tauruses are known to have a lot of sense and sensibility. The title words. I don't know too much about this. I have not read any Jane Austen. As I mentioned in my TBR, I think I read a bit of Pride and Prejudice, but I don't think I actually finished it. And this is obviously a classic. And I also thought it fit to read a classic for this vlog because in my Libra vlog, I did read a classic as well. So maybe in each of these videos, I read a classic. That seems kind of fair. But yeah, I think it's about these 2 sisters and just about their lives and their love life. And the final recommendation comes actually from TikTok from a user named Quartz Books. She didn't really have an explanation because this is TikTok, so she just kind of listed a book for each sign. So I don't know her reasoning behind this exactly, but she recommended Tauruses read Warcross by Marie Lu. This is a book I've heard about for years. It's like a YA sci-fi kind of dystopian series about a girl. She enters this sort of virtual reality competition. It seems very similar to Ready Player One, in my opinion, reading the description, but it sounds pretty fun. Why would she recommend this for Tauruses? Maybe Tauruses need a little adventure. So yeah, that is the TBR for this vlog. Hopefully you'll keep watching and see what I think of all these, and then subscribe so you can see my final vlog coming later in the year where I read books for my rising sign, which I'm not going to tell you what it is. So I just read chapter 1 and I'm on page 34. So I'm not happy about that the chapters are about 30 pages. Can't film with you. Dakota is going to be reading it with me. Are you excited?
Sure.
guys that awkward moment when you forget that you're filming a vlog. Oops. No, I've just been really busy. I don't think I mentioned, but I am going to Montreal this weekend on a little weekend trip. Very un-Taurus-like, going on a trip, leaving the house. Anyways, I have been reading The Hobbit the last couple of days. If you guys don't know what The Hobbit's about, I know I kind of already said, but it is following Bilbo Baggins, who is a hobbit. So they are like a smaller person. They're kind of like a dwarf, but not actually a dwarf. And he's a typical hobbit. He likes to just stay in his little hobbit hole, and he loves to indulge in food and drink and relax. So very much like a Taurus. I see why they recommended this book for Tauruses. But then he gets recruited by the wizard Gandalf, who I've heard of, the wizard from Lord of the Rings. Don't know much about him, but I recognize the name. And then 14 dwarves come and basically bombard him and are like, you're gonna come with us on this journey. I forget why they ask him, but he's from some sort of like special lineage of hobbits. Like his mom was a Took or something like that. But he comes from a more like adventurous line of hobbits or something. So they're gonna go see the dragon Smog. And honestly, I don't remember what they want from the dragon, if they want to like slay the dragon or if they want to get treasure from the dragon. Kind of shows how not great my retention is while reading the book. It's not the best that it could be, but yeah, it's kind of like a classic fantasy. They're going on this quest and kind of having all of these bumps in the road along the way, bumping into these different characters who, again, I think some might be ones that appear in the Lord of the Rings. We have met Gollum, who again is an iconic character I know of from Lord of the Rings. I know what he looks like and stuff, but I don't actually know much about him. But we had a little scene with him. It's kind of cute because it's almost like each of the villain characters they meet will like sing or say little like rhymes or sing, and it's kind of cute. Gollum was interesting because he was saying all these riddles, which was kind of cool to try and solve the riddles with them. We also saw one of the rings. Sorry, I don't want to spoil, but I think at this point, if you haven't read Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, you probably won't. So hopefully I'm not spoiling, but we actually saw one of the rings. I've never known what the rings were. So it's kind of cool to see one of them and what it does. The chapters are still kind of long, but it's not bothering me as much as that first chapter. Not all of them are that long, but I'm about like halfway now. It's cute, but there's definitely moments where I'm like, okay, I'm a little bored. But then there's moments where like, it's good. So just did a rapid test. We're negative. Woo woo. Okay, let everyone know what you thought of The Hobbit.
I enjoyed it. Like, what do you mean?
What's your review? What's your rating?
4 stars.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What made you drop a star?
It's spoilers. I can't really tell you.
Boring parts.
No, it's not even just that. The book kind of psychs you out with something.
What did you like?
The journey, Bilbo, dwarves.
I did not know they were gonna give me this much food. Holy crap. Look what we found. Indigo. A French indigo. It's like a little runway. They're getting ready backstage.
Oh, that's good.
Wow, from all the different places around the world. Cool. Lord of the Rings. I'm reading The Hobbit. Still haven't finished it. Divergent. Oh, Hunger Games. There's Katniss. Legally Blonde, Wizard of Oz. feel like I'm a hobbit on a journey with my dwarf friend. I'm not a toque. Can you tell it's been raining? Hey guys, I am back from my trip and I finished The Hobbit when I was at the airport waiting for my flight back. It was a good trip, but it was pretty rainy, so I do recommend going to Montreal, but maybe go like in the summer when there's better weather and everything is open. Here's my Montreal sweater. But yeah, I finished The Hobbit and I actually rated it 2.5 stars. Don't hate me. I just think I didn't really realize how old of a book this was. It came out in the 30s. I just never really viewed it as like a classic, but it is written in that like old-timey style. It had kind of boring writing and narration. It just wasn't really my thing. So, and the fact that I don't have any like nostalgic feelings for this either, because I have not seen any of these movies or read it before or anything, which I think a lot of people have. It just didn't really hit the same as like it might for a lot of people. Like Dakota gave it 4 stars. Still thought it was cute, still liked learning about this world finally, and I am intrigued to read the rest of the Lord of the Rings books and to watch those movies. I do think I would like the movies a lot, but yeah, I just found myself like spacing out a lot when I was reading this, not always retaining a lot and getting a little bit bored. I also had some, you know, distracting things going on in life when I was reading this too, so it's probably not just the book's fault. But yeah, I'm giving it just a 2.5 star. Definitely looking forward to reading Warcross the most. A little bit worried about Sense and Sensibility, as that is another classic. Didn't really realize I put 2 classics on this list, but hopefully I will like the rest of the books better. But I do think this is a good fit for Tauruses because hobbits are very similar to Tauruses, and it's a good book about to kind of like an introverted character going out and having adventures. Hey guys, it is Tuesday, back to the routine of things, back to working, and I actually got to about halfway through Warcross yesterday. It's pretty enjoyable. There's something that's just so nice about reading those classic Hunger Games inspired books that you saw tons of back in the day that just have all those fun YA dystopian tropes. So yeah, basically Warcross is kind of similar to Ready Player One, like I said before, but not exactly. We are following our main character, Emeka Chen, and I think she's like 17 and she's living on her own. Typical sad YA backstory of her being an orphan. They're living in this world where there's this thing called Warcross. This young kid created it when he was like 13. It's this technology where basically it's a virtual reality thing. Like you go into a virtual reality, but it's not like the big clunky goggles that you see people wear. It's basically like glasses like these, and there's this virtual world. You can play this game called Warcross, or no, I think they're called the Henka games. which is kind of funny, like Hunger Games, it kind of sounds similar. But there's this like big tournament, and the game sounds like it's similar to, honestly, Capture the Flag. Like you're in teams and you're trying to guard your gem, I think they call it, like basically your flag. And it's like, it's a thing you want to be in. It's not like the Hunger Games where it's like they're torturing you. It's just this fun game that it's like prestigious to be in. And Emeka is like a really big fan of the guy that created this world, Hideo, his name was. Kind of has a crush on him. He is about 4 years older than her, so potential love interest is what it seems like. But anyways, she is what's called a like hunter or something like that, and basically she just tries to capture fugitives for the police, and that is how she gets money. So she has those little like skills, hunting skills. And she's also a hacker, very good hacker. Anyways, I feel like I'm not being super clear in this description, but one day during the Henka games or whatever, she actually hacks into the game, gets caught hacking in basically, and she thinks she's gonna like go to jail again or juvie again. But Hideo actually ends up contacting her and is like, I want you to work for me and be kind of like a spy for me in this year's games. She's going to enter it and be on one of the teams competing, but secretly she's kind of like a double agent, and she's trying to help Hideo figure out who this other hacker is that they've found is trying to hack into the games. So that's kind of fun. It's sort of like a mystery of who this person is, this mysterious Zero they're calling him. I have a suspicion of who I think it is. It's kind of a cliche, but we'll see if I'm right about that. But yeah, she's on this one team. I feel like there's another potential love interest on her team. It's like her team captain, Asher, but I don't know for sure. Considering when this came out, like there very well could be a love triangle like that, but it's pretty fun so far. I think it's gonna be a pretty easy read. As I said, I read half of it in one day. Right now, basically, Emeka is training to start competing in these games, and she's trying to use her little hackery skills to figure out who this mysterious hacker is. I have finished the book, and let me tell you, it took a lot less time than it took me to read The Hobbit, okay? This took me like 2 days. Great book. Really enjoyed it. And I'm giving it 4 stars. I'm kind of tempted to give it more, but there were a few things that ended up annoying me. I'll say the romance ended up becoming like a really huge part in this book. And I know it's YA, it's like typical, but I was just getting a little bit annoyed with our main character, Emmy. Like she was focusing so much on the romance, and it's one of those frustrating things where like, just focus on your team. Like she kept letting her team down in the Warcross games, or like focus on the mystery, like finding out who this mysterious person is. There was just a little too much romance stuff. And I will say, I know I had that theory about there being a love triangle, and that was not correct. So don't worry if you hate love triangles, there wasn't one in this book, unless it comes in the second one, because it is a duology. But I was wrong about that. I was off the mark on that one. As for my guess of who the villain was, I actually was wrong about that. Like my main theory that I had, I was wrong about, but what it ended up being was pretty good. I did suspect it, but I didn't think it was actually gonna happen, and then it did, and it was like, it was a good twist actually. Like this is, I want to say, one of the better like YA sci-fi dystopian books out there. I'm gonna put that out there. And I also liked that this book was pretty diverse. Now this isn't as old of a book as I thought it was. It came out in 2017, so it wasn't like one of those 2012 books. So maybe that makes sense of why it is a little bit better, and it is a little bit more diverse with like the ethnicity of a lot of the characters. There is a disabled character as one of the main characters, which is always nice to see, you know? And it takes place mainly in Tokyo. It's not just like a typical North American thing. So that was pretty fun. Very quick, easy read. Don't totally know why it would be recommended for Tauruses. As I mentioned before, there wasn't really an explanation with it, but it might just be what I had kind of said, that like Tauruses can be really homebody, so this allows Tauruses to have like a crazy adventure from their own home in a way, because in Warcross, which is very similar to Ready Player One, which more people are familiar with, you're able to just be home or anywhere, and then virtually you are having these experiences. So that kind of fits for a Taurus. They get to just stay home. If they were actually playing Warcross, they could just stay home where they're comfortable and then just have these little adventures virtually. So maybe that's where the recommendation comes in. Now we're going on to Sensibility. I recently watched Sarah Without an H's video where she read all of Jane Austen's books and like ranks them. I actually quite like her channel. She might be one of my favorite booktubers right now. She ranks Sense and Sensibility on the lower half of her favorite Jane Austens. So we'll see how this goes. I'm DNFing Sense and Sensibility. I can't do it. I just can't do it. I think I mentioned sometime in this video that I didn't really realize that The Hobbit was considered a classic just because I just considered it a fantasy book, but it was very much written in that old-timey way, very much felt like a classic, and because of that I struggled to read it. So now trying to read another classic, I just don't want to do it. And I don't think I deserve to do it. I got 30 pages in and it was just such a struggle for me. I think we've realized I really am not a classics reader and I'm just not going to put myself through that. I don't think I should. So I did have some other books on my list that I'm going to substitute in, and that book is going to be the Wayward Children series, or the first book in the Wayward Children series by Seanan and Mcguire, and the first one's called Every Heart a Doorway, and this was recommended by Katie and her cats on YouTube, so I will link her below like the rest. This is a book about a bunch of children who go into these other worlds through these doorways. The worlds are like perfect for them. They're having a great time, but then for some reason they get sent back to our normal world and they have a really hard time adjusting, and because of that they end up going to this school for wayward children, and it kind of helps them rehabilitate back into our world. And she recommended this for Tauruses because she feels like the lady who runs that school is very much a Taurus, in that she is this stable person for them, a comfort, that kind of thing, which Tauruses can often be because they are so stable. So we're gonna give this a go. I downloaded it now. It seems like it's a pretty short book, the first one, so looks like I'm starting a new series. But I've been really interested in reading this series recently. I've heard quite a few people talk about it. So yeah, that's the new plan, and I'm hoping I finish it like literally today or tomorrow since it's so short. So yeah, here we go. I finished the book and it was really good. If you have not read it, I would give it a go. I would give it a go if I were you. For the plot, we're following our main character, who is a young girl. She went into a world that was actually the underworld. She got kicked out for whatever reason, and we're seeing her joining the school for wayward children, and through her eyes we're sort of learning about the world, how all these children go to these different types of worlds, which that part was like a little bit confusing just because, I don't know, it's a new world you're learning about. There are worlds that are logic worlds, and then there's nonsense worlds. So logic ones are ones that are very rule based, and then the nonsense are more like crazy worlds. But yeah, all these kids are hoping to get back to their world because that's where they were the happiest, because those worlds are basically like meant for them. But it's kind of like a group home where they have therapy to try to adjust back to our real world, blah blah blah. And it's run by that woman Eleanor that I mentioned, who like runs the school, and she was a wayward child at one point as well. This book, I guess, is technically a novella. It's under 200 pages, so very short and easy to get through. The writing was really good in my opinion. Like, I did not want to stop reading. The characters were very interesting. There was great diversity. In case you didn't know, the main character is asexual. There's also a transgender character as one of the main characters, and I thought that representation was done pretty well. But it is definitely dark. Like, I saw on the Goodreads, I think that it was technically young adult. I almost want to say it should just be adult, even though it does follow younger main characters. I just feel like it was pretty dark and violent. It is still like whimsical and has like a good message as well about, like, I don't know, being in environments where you are like included, understood and stuff. It reminded me of The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune, but like a darker version. Because it's a similar premise, right, of dealing with this home for kids who just don't have a place in the world. But there is actually a murder mystery subplot, which I definitely appreciated because I'm a big like murder mystery fan. It was like a tad random. I looked at some reviews that said it just kind of felt like a random thing to be in the book, and it kind of was, but I still kind of liked it, and I'm definitely excited to continue with this series whenever I get the chance. So yeah. Oh, and I give it 4.5 stars as my rating. I feel like sometimes it is harder to rate shorter books like novellas, but I just went with 4.5 because I really liked it. So I think this vlog was mostly successful, especially once I DNF'd one of the books. So yeah, that's gonna be the vlog. Thank you guys for watching. Comment if you would like to, I'd appreciate it. And be sure to subscribe to see my third and final video in this little series where I read books for my rising sign. See you guys later. Bye.